guys, and welcome to episode 14 of the Face It podcast. Today, I am joined by Dr. Ben Chan. Dr. Ben is a fellow of the Australian College of Aesthetic Medicine and Cosmetic Physicians College of Australia. He is also a medical director of Aesthetics and Skin Institute and Anatomy for Injectors. He also owns medical and cosmetic clinics, as well as training across Australia, Asia, India, and the USA. That was a mouthful, Ben. There's plenty more to talk about with regards to your career, but that is a brief introduction. So thank you so much for joining me on the podcast this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So do you want to just tell us a bit about your career and how you got to where you are today? Because you obviously have such a huge breadth of experience. And I think our listeners would love to know a bit more about how you got into aesthetic and sort of where you got to how you are today.
Sure, I'm one of those dinosaurs that have been around for so long. I graduated in Melbourne University in Australia, and guess what? In the early 90s, the name Obagi may be someone may know, someone may not know.
The skincare, it's prescription skincare, isn't it? Yes.
Correct. Yeah, he and a few other cohorts they started the Retin-A, the Revolutions, but actually he actually opened up the aesthetic clinic for the doctors. They're called cosmeceutical at that time. Prior to him, they were more or less tailor-made prescriptions, but when he standardized the treatment from Asian skin to darker skin, he made it very easy for doctors to get in. Of course, at that time, the key ingredients were Retin-A and also tretinoin and also hydroquinone, right? So it's a whitening, and then he went on to the peels. These were the days before laser. So he went to blue peel and so on. But what he did was that he opened up cosmeceuticals to doctors. And then lasers came in about 10 years later, and of course, early thousands and around 2000, then the laser market starting coming with trends. You know, that was still the early days of laser hair removal clinic. I was lucky enough to start my training early, so I became the fellow of two colleges. So we are what we call the cosmetic physicians. And I was an early adopter. I've always been interested in skin, cosmetic skin, and skin cancer, so it wasn't hard. And of course, I also went through hair transplant and liposuction training and so on. So actually, there was a lot of background behind all my training. I was so interested in running over USA, Asia, trying to pick up everything that I could do. And then later on, I started cosmetic clinics and then became the founder of the Aesthetic Skin Institute. So I've seen the progression of all these trends and the development of all the machines and skincare over a period of time. It started about 30, 40 years ago.
It's crazy how it's developed. And obviously you've literally lived and breathed that whole time. And I'm sure you've actually had, a massive impact on the industry as well from kind of what you've said. And I think the main thing that you've mentioned there is your real passion. I suppose it was something that you kind of very naturally started doing and getting into throughout your career. With regards to the different locations that you work in, so obviously you've worked across the whole world, and you're constantly traveling, like you mentioned earlier. What would you say the main similarities and differences are within the industry at the moment across these locations? Because obviously I'm based in the UK and we're essentially a tiny little island, and the aesthetics industry is worth over 3 billion in the UK alone. But what are the differences and the similarities between the different locations?
They are in different stages of development. Like, for example, even in 2006, I started actually clinics in China, and that failed because I was too early and China didn't take up much cosmetics then. And when I traveled to USA, India, they're all in different stages of development. But one thing for sure, overall globally, there's now increasing disposable income, and the patients are getting younger. And even 10, 15 years ago, you see the Koreans were getting hair transplant, etc. So they are about 20 years ahead of everybody else in terms of surgery. And let's not talk about surgery, but talk about skin rejuvenation. What I see, the commonality is that most people are interested in rejuvenation and anti-aging now.
Yeah.
These are two key words, and the ages of people requesting these treatments are getting younger and younger. Skin was never sort of a like especially Australia, a lot of people are sunburn, wrinkles, and pigmentation. But now people are beginning to take care of the skin, and they're beginning to seek treatment a lot earlier rather than wearing a lot of makeup to get that even tone effect. And it's not as if it's not available. Like I said, Dr. Obaji started this even tone business
Yeah.
30, 40 years ago.
It's
But
more
there are
the
mm,
knowledge, isn't it, that's out there now, and the power of social media, I would say. Because even when, I'm 28 years old, and 10 years ago when I was 18, I didn't have the knowledge of skincare really. I think I used just like a basic moisturizer and cleanser, and that's what everybody did. And I think it's amazing how the impact of social media can really give clients that knowledge, not only on aesthetic treatments, but also on how to better take care of their skin as well.
Yes, I mean sun exposure is still happening. A lot of people still go sunbaking, and we are experts at skin cancer. So there is a lot of damage to the skin way before skin cancer. So we see that, and there are differences as well. In different countries, in different stages of development. For example, even the fillers when we teach in the Western countries, always the lips and the lateral cheek. And then when we teach in Asia, if you don't teach them the nose, which is one of the most dangerous areas, basically no one comes to class because they don't want lip fillers. So there's sort of differences in different parts of the world. And of course, if you are in America, UK, and here, you may have that type of client, then they are not going to require lip fillers. So, yeah, I mean, we are all multicultural now, so want to be aware of that. And hair removal is very big with the Middle Eastern and the South Asian patients. So there are different emphasis. But and again, the commonality is skin. And the next one we see a lot is the issue of sagging. So
Right,
uh,
okay. So do you mean in conjunction with aging then? So when the face starts to sag? Right, okay.
they may not start to sag, but patients are concerned that they are sagging. And
Yes.
that age is becoming younger and younger. The patients are having preventative sagging treatments rather than
Yeah.
wait for it to sag, then seek treatments.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Even I have a fear of aging. If I could look the way that I look now forever, I would. And I think a lot of people, it doesn't really bother them. But the aging process is something that you can't stop. Everybody gets older, and everybody will go through that process. And I think it's great that actually we do have treatments and things that we can use to help prevent that or prolong the aging process. You touched on the fact that Korea are 20 years ahead than everyone else. Are there specific treatments which you've come across, or products even, that people in Korea are using, which the rest of the world actually aren't aware of at the moment?
Okay, from my perspective, I've watched Korean change. They're very good in advanced surgery rather than skincare.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the skincare, like we have a very good range of skincare and a lot of the top skincare. But mind you, we are not exposed as much to the European skincare as we get our influence from either Australian locally or American. So the Americans are very good skincare. The Korean have natural good skin anyway.
Mm.
So and they have less pigmentation, less aging problem because look in Australia we're just full sun. So in Koreans naturally have good skincare. Don't I think you would not necessarily look to them for skincare, but Asian surgery they are very good in. But now they've trained so many people, so the whole world has caught up to what Asian surgery is. For example, you wouldn't go to Korea to have make your nose smaller, right? You
Yeah,
could have make your nose bigger, but they just don't have the experience to make your nose bigger. Make your nose smaller. You
yeah,
go there to make your nose bigger, so you need to understand the cultural differences. So they lead in some ways, but they have taught enough experts around the world now. So I think that the lead is narrowing.
yeah.
And then skincare, there'll be some new products in terms of market. We can, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I think it's fascinating as well, that you, like I said before, you've literally seen it all develop, and I think that's fantastic because it's only going to keep developing as well. What would you say is the most important product that people should be using on their skin when it comes to the aging process
Wow.
and prevention?
Well, that brings me to yeah, if you talk about skin, that brings me to my teaching of fundamentals of skin science. Most people, look, we are doctors, but we study diseases, but we don't study the aesthetics part of it. There are so many things that we do nowadays to make the skin better. For a start, you need to have prevention, sunblock. So, right, so we have to sort of start. So now relates to skin science. You have to deal layer by layer of the skin. It's not as if as one product. And you have to do a stratum corneum. Why is that important? Well, that's the thing that stops things from getting in and out. That's the barrier. So that's why we do micro needling, microdermabrasion to strip the skin so that your serums can be absorbed more efficiently. If you just put everything on top, nothing will get absorbed. So then the next layer is the keratinocytes, which plumps the skin. Then the simple stuff and the cheaper stuff will be the AHA, the glycolic acid, that plumps up the skin. It comes from Dr. Obaji's days. And then you have the melanocyte, which you have to control them to give you an even tone so that you don't get blemishes and things. Then you look at the skin underneath, which is a collagen. Then you have to find ways of stimulating the collagen. May it be microneedling, microneedle RF, or injecting collagen stimulating. And then last bit, and it mustn't be forgotten. So those stimulating the collagen is you can't replace them. You can't drink it. Well, you can. Some people still claim that you can drink collagen supplement. And then you can't forget the hyaluronic
Sorry,
acid.
Ben, would you say that drinking collagen supplements is just pointless?
I'm not an expert in that oral medicine, so I'm not going to claim to be an expert on that one. I'll let others decide. I haven't done much
Okay.
research on collagen, right? I mean, collagen is in the dermal area, and they're produced by the fibroblast and collagen elastin. So you can drink collagen. I don't know whether they work or not. I really have no expert opinion on it, so please don't even quote me on that. And we got the collagen stimulating fillers like PLA. Calcium hydroxyapatite, not talking about names. I'm very careful of that. So those are collagen stimulating fillers. There are 3 of them in Australia. And then you have a big component called the hyaluronic acid, right? So
Yes.
that's the one that you can apply on. Remember, I talked about stratum corneum. So you can put as much on. And then I know that UK, you got the Profilo, you got the 70
Yeah.
Hal. These are very important because you're not going to replenish your hyaluronic acid. So it's not going to moisturize your skin. So you can see now, is there one molecule that surfaces? Oh, no, you can't. You got to attack all those areas if you want to have all those skin. So that comes back to understanding skin science. So it's just not one product. Okay, you got HA, but what about other stuff? But
Yeah.
if you understand skin science, then you can understand why it's important to use certain things and rather than just one thing that acts
Yeah.
on it. So you need your collagen, you need your hyaluronic acid, you need to plump up your keratinocytes, you got to somehow strip away your stratum corneum and then even tone. So simple as that. So it's not as if there are 10
There's
times.
so much to it though. And I think for a lot of practitioners will just focus their training on Botox and fillers, when actually, those treatments and aesthetic treatments are not a quick fix. If your client is just coming in to get anti-wrinkle injections, but actually they're not taking care of their skin, practitioners should be gaining the knowledge to actually advise them on other treatments which can help their skin in terms of collagen production and things, but also what products they should be using in order to aid that as well. So I think from previous conversations I've had on this podcast as well, I would say my advice to any practitioner would be really start doing your research and educating yourself in the skin science, like you've just said, because it is so important and there's so much to it as well. It's not just as simple as using a serum.
No, it's more than that.
Exactly. So obviously you've got your courses now available on Faces, which is amazing. Can you tell us a bit more about the courses and how they will benefit a practitioner who purchases them? Because I think it's fantastic that they can just go onto the Faces app and purchase your courses to further their learning.
Sure. Let me explain to you the philosophy of ASI, Aesthetic Skin Institute. So, who is the team behind it? It's a team of doctors, the doctor and specialists and then we have medical illustrators. So, for us to publish something as doctors, we need to ensure that there is a standard there. And the standard is, of course, for example, our anatomy for injectors. So simple thing like anatomy, so basic, so fundamental. That particular module is accredited in Australia, UK, and USA, CPD, CME accredited. The good thing about online courses is we can constantly update the material. For example, we saw a chin filler necrosis. Now, we got contacted by one of our USA trainers. Chin necrosis from a chin filler is so rare, but it happened about 3 weeks ago. So we got contacted and we read the journal and we found another case, but it's probably the only 2 cases. No one else has reported. So we can update that sort of information quickly rather than publishing a textbook. By the time we publish it, so, we forgot about this and somebody asked about that. So we have to be medically accurate and to aim to be the best resource because we are doctors. We can't say something that's not true. And also, even simple modules like vascular occlusion, we have to update the latest protocol. So nitroglycerin is out, and in some places hyperbaric oxygen is in. So it may not be applicable to you, but if somebody report it and it's an optional, we have to do it. And it's all generic. There's no brand bias. These courses are designed as they should be taught in a medical school. So it's accurate and it should be useful. And even like things like acne, I can write a 400-page book on acne, but that's not the point. Like we also teach dermatologists what is a pathway. It's not as if they don't know acne, but we talk about depigmentation, and some may not even know what a depigmentation is. They know how to fix the acne, but don't pigmentation or even know the score. So the intention of online, other than our workshop, the intention for online learning, there are several ways to use it. Number one is that we use it extensively as a pre-learning tool. There are trainers overseas who use our anatomy, so they get them to finish the training before they come in, so they don't have to explain where the arteries go in a lip filler. Now, just talk about the lip filler alone, right? So conventionally, we all been taught the arteries behind the wet dry line and so on. But in our module, we actually highlighted the research. There are 3 variations. So, and it's very difficult to update this sort of information. They just tell me it's behind the wet dry line. Or what happens if it is in the orbicularis oculi itself? Then not ocular, orbicularis oris, sorry. So what happens if it is there yourself? So one day you may just inject and you end up with a VO or massive bruise because you were not told of that variations, right? So everybody just look at the Google and say, oh, here it is behind the wet dry line. So that's it's a pre-learning tool so that they learn it before they come in. So that's one. And number 2 is that it's a credible resource. That means we have spoken about different variations, and even the nasolabial fold we teach when we show 3 different techniques, and the temple 3 different layers. So we want to, whatever techniques out there, we want to mention it. Whether you use it or not is not important. So after you do a workshop, all these are invasive procedure. You never learn these and look at my online course and try to do it.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you need the actual training. Yes.
Yeah, but when you go back and say, oh, I didn't know that there are 2 other methods. So it helps you to go further learning, right? I mean, everybody teaches only one way to do nasolabial fold, and now you find that, there are actually 3 ways. So it opens another avenue for you to learn. And somebody from Zimbabwe may be subscribing to my module, say, I really want to know whether I should buy a plasma pen. I'm not sure what it is. So they go and learn it and see whether it's for them or it's not for them. Because we just say, okay, what from our experience as doctors, what you should use a plasma pen for and what is good at and what is not good at. And what is not good at is because there are other tools better than that. For example, resurfacing, right? So I say, okay, if you want to remove a benign lesion from plasma pen, but do you have enough knowledge to identify the benign lesion? So you have to lead you to more study. So this is what we call curiosity. And then I already mentioned like the filling the gap. Some doctors are very well. Some people think they're smart. They learn how to do lipo dissolve on the chin, and it's because that area is more complicated because of the anatomy. But once you learn it, some people are very smart and they say, oh, no, I can do the bra line. Oh, we show that in there. So they don't have to attend a workshop. So it's an extension of the education, but it's definitely for invasive procedure. We do not recommend you to learn how to do a nose filler
Yes,
from the workshop. But if you do a
absolutely.
nose filler, yeah, if you do a learn a nose filler workshop, we actually show you three different variations. For example, a humpy nose, you should not use a cannula. And when you should use a cannula, when you use a needle. So we actually expose and show everything there is
Yeah,
already.
amazing. Because everybody's anatomy is different. And, you know, an 18-year-old is gonna potentially need a different amount of filler, a different treatment than someone who's 61, for example, you know.
All right.
I think it's so important to just no matter how experienced you are as a practitioner, just continue educating yourself, because particularly when these courses are so accessible, you can get them straight on the Faces app. As you said, Ben, they're constantly getting updated, constantly changing, you're constantly adding to them. It's just a no-brainer, I think. And even if you can just get little pearls from each training course that you do, it's just going to benefit your clients, it's going to make you a better practitioner, and it's just going to increase your knowledge, and it's so important.
I think another thing, very important thing is that they have access to us. So if there's any question we haven't covered or vague, so they can contact us direct. We love questions because if we get a question we haven't, then it could mean two things. We haven't covered it, which is unusual, or it's not clear enough. And we want to hear back from whoever reads it so that they give us a feedback. But anyway, there hasn't been any questions about clarity or like somebody said, oh, I want to write about Russian lips. So we actually just did another dedicated module to Russian lips, which should be released in about 3 or 4 weeks time. What exactly Russian lips? How should it be done according to the Russian lips way and not modified Russian lips? Then you can modify the technique if you want. But this was what it was originally intended, and this is a technique. And then you learn it, and then you can look. You're an expert. You can mix and match.
Yeah, amazing. So obviously, guys, if any of you are subscribed to Ben's courses on the app, you can get in touch with the Aesthetics and Skin Institute team if you have any questions, like he's just said, or you can contact us and we can relay the information, because I think it's so important. Obviously, aftercare when it comes to training is vital, and it's something that a lot of practitioners don't get from their academy. So even though these are online courses and to refresh and make your knowledge more in depth, the team are there to help you. So I think that's really important and really reassuring for practitioners as well. Just with regards to the aesthetics business module that you've mentioned, Ben, so you're obviously in the middle of producing it. What will this include, just so anyone's aware and we can know what to expect?
Okay, this is something that is written reflecting my journey from a solo practitioner to one that employs 100 employees with multiple clinics, and to teaching if you're interested. But that's not about teaching, it's about the aesthetics business. It is, most of us, when we talk about business, is how to run a business, and you get the marketing, you get the stock, you get confused because you don't even know what stock you should have.
Yeah.
But majority of us would have started as a technical base. So there are three aspects to it. There's a technical aspect, there's a business aspect, and there's a business mind aspect. Let me explain. Most of us go and learn a skill, and then we change it into a business. That's the first thing. I want to be a better lip filler. I want to learn laser. And then I say, okay, now we can start a business. That's most of us did it that way, right? So when the technical aspect, I have gone into it. Let's start with the technical aspect. And this is what most of us start. So in the technical aspect, I have explained what you should do as a what I call spa setup, right? what is a spa setup? It's a very low cost. You need your peel, you need your LED, your skin product, your micro needling, and your microdermabrasion. This is the way I'm talking about skin now. This is where we all should start as a skin setup. Then you go to the next level of setup. Now, depending on where you are, to me, these things change, but currently the two machines that one should have is the micro needle RF and also an IPL, because it's a multifunctional rather than a laser. So this is what I call a skin setup, right? Why? I will explain that. Why? Because it depends on the business aspect, which I talk about later. And then you move on to the medical skin clinic. Then you talk about pigment lasers, resurfacing lasers. So you don't go and jump into a deep end and buy a laser. And there's a problem when you go and do a laser. When you go and buy a laser from in a conference, first of all, you're buying from a car dealer that they assume that you know how to drive. First of all, you have no understanding of skin, and you have no understanding of the even a laser is, or difference between a laser and IPL. So that is the last thing you need to do. And if you want to go into laser, fine. You have to study skin science, you got to study the laser technology, and then even the medical condition, right? So less the technical aspect goes into spa, skin clinic, and then medical skin clinic. So it's a progression. Of course, you can add on your HIFU lift and lipo dissolve and all the fillers in later on. Those are what I call add-ons. I'm talking about skin clinic. Then the business aspect of it, where most people fail, is that they get sold a machine they don't need and they find that they don't want it.
Yes, but they feel like they need to have it.
No, they get talked into it. And it's simple fact, because they haven't done the research on what their clients want and the price that the client's willing to pay. Simple as that. So they go and buy a fat zap machine. They are in a low socio-economic area that people say, wow, you're charging me 500 pounds. I'd rather go on a diet. So you're never going to get a client, right? So you need to find out what your clients want, and then what is it that what they're willing to pay. Look, if the fat zap machine can do 50 pounds, I'll come every week. But if you charge me 500 pounds, you're never going to get me after the first time I say it doesn't work. I must go on a diet, right? Because people have no understanding of what they are. But I have recently, that is a free module. You can just link up as I'm writing it for now. And it is not difficult, because a post I did 2 days earlier, which showed that one of the public companies, you always read their report, their biggest profit or revenue is actually injectables. Okay, enough said. So what injectables? Toxins and fillers, right? So that's the biggest revenue. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel when people already tell you their trade secrets. And number two is hair removal and skin treatments. Of course, they're not going to go into skin treatment. You can go to a website and say, what skin treatments do they do, right? And then the third one is body shaping or contouring, and then the last one is skincare, right? So we can go backwards and say, oh, we start skincare, and it's just that you turn the whole business upside down. You make it so hard for yourself, whilst the information is already out there. And the next one you have to do is ask your clients, what do they want, how much you're willing to pay, right? And a lot of these come and sell. A lot of these things, people come in and sell you, oh, you can charge 500 pounds for this. Good luck to you if you got patients who are willing to pay 500 pounds for what? So they may come in.
And if you've got a client base who are predominantly older clients, or you've got a client base who are predominantly younger clients, or predominantly men or women, everybody's going to have a different set of clients depending on their demographic and depending how they market their business as well. And that means that different treatments will appeal to different groups of people. You know, there's no one size fits all. I think a lot of practitioners think they need to train in absolutely everything to be a great practitioner, and that's not the case. Speak to your clients, ask them what they want, how much they are willing to pay, and decide from there. And it's as simple as that. Because if, like you've said, Ben, if you're training in treatments that you know your clients aren't going to need or want or are willing to pay for, then what's the point, you know?
Right. So you need to be, and business is not that hard. It's just common sense. And if you, like you say, if they already have a client base, You don't need to spend money on market research because that your demographics really tell you what it is, right? So your demographics may be different from 2 suburbs away.
Yeah,
So you have
definitely.
your client base, just simple ask them what they want. And then you have to attach the next question. How much are you willing to pay for this?
Yes. Yeah.
So
But obviously on that note, through Faces, we are partnered with Pay Later so that clients can actually split the cost of their payments up to 12 months. So even if you are a practitioner who's offering expensive treatments, or you're finding that, your more expensive treatments are not as popular with your clients, always recommend that they can split the cost of their treatments, and that will hopefully encourage them to book in as well.
yeah.
With
Let
regard,
me touch on the third aspect, which is the business mind. Which is this actually the business mind should actually come first rather than last, but nobody talks about the business mind. You know that people who have are business minded, may have no idea how the IPO works and no interest in skin science. These are pure business mind. So behind it is what is the drive to what is the drive? I will talk about it. No, I used to be an NLP practitioner, but I'm not teaching. I'm not a motivator. I'm just showing you what's the motivation behind it, right? If, like I said, you may not need to even to be a technician. Those people who own businesses, they just own so many. They got no idea how your skincare works. They don't really care. They just want to know what is the drive behind it, and they just then marry it with their business model. And if you don't have the technical knowledge, I wouldn't know how to do eyelashes. I
yeah,
can employ someone who know how to do eyelashes. If there is a demand, why would I learn how to do eyelashes
yeah,
myself?
yes. So will this module literally give a practitioner a real helping hand and steps in terms of what they should be doing and how to grow their business?
It is a module, is a snippet of paragraph by paragraph by building a foundation.
Amazing.
You can tear it apart, but then it is my journey. It is like the 3 different aspects. You can pull it apart and say, oh, what machine should I buy? Well, I will be addressing that in detail. So, but you shouldn't zoom straight into marketing without forgetting the first 2 principles that I mentioned. It's no point selling. You are in a different area, different demographics. You have not no one to market to because the people don't want it. So why you
Yeah,
waste money marketing to people who don't want it or can't afford your
yeah,
services? So
yeah,
you need to get your steps correct. So it is an algorithm, step by step, how you build it. You can't suddenly jump to the big end and say, let's spend more money on marketing. I say, are you kidding me? You don't even have your knowledge yet. So you suddenly
yeah.
want to jump into marketing. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's a really tricky one for practitioners because the main thing that everybody struggles with is actually building that client base. So the fact that there's this tool available from your experience, your knowledge, and if they follow these simple steps, a lot of it will be common sense. And I think a lot of practitioners just overcomplicate it as well and make it harder for themselves. Would you agree?
That's correct. When you talk about the market base, and even I use in my same clinic, and there again, simple principles. You get the new clients in, but make sure you know how to retain them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that comes to customer experience, right? So everybody is about experience. So it's your new clients, but you cannot in our business and most businesses you cannot rely on new clients all the time. You need some new client, but they cannot be. So your most of our businesses rely on returning clients. So
Yeah.
that is the way they keep coming back. So
Yeah.
they'll come back. You have to ask yourself, wait, what is it? Your wrong product, your wrong service, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It takes years to gain a customer and seconds to lose one. We all know that
Very
thing.
true. Very
So
true.
so the repeat customers are the ones they're super important to us. It's not just the people who there's a book on it. I cannot remember. It's not just the repeat there are types of repeat customers. One, they keep coming and spend big and they'll just come in. They don't want their neighbors to know. But those who are your referrals, those are very important repeat
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they are the one who sing your song, they're the one who write your Google review.
Yeah.
Those are more VVIP than your VIP. So those regular customers, they don't want their husband to know that they spend the money. Those are okay, they are good. But of course, you've got the other categories that don't come spend money and you don't really forget about them. And
Yeah.
then the third principle is when they are there, sell them more. Okay, what does it mean? You go to a petrol station, they sell you lollies. Is it their main income? No, but you're already there, it's just convenience.
Yeah.
So you need to think of these three principles: how to get your repeat clients, how to retain your repeat clients, how to recall your repeat clients, how to get new clients from your basket of repeat clients, rather than marketing keep trying to get new clients and you burn them. You get 10 new clients and you lose 9 of them. That's not good. That's not good. So you need to, I'll be talking about that. You need to comb through your whole entire process to find where have you gone wrong, especially when your team grows.
I completely agree with you, Ben. I think a lot of practitioners, they might lose a client, but then they're actually not aware of it and they don't really think about it. But you're so right. You should be looking through that whole journey. How was the consultation process? Did I give them the right advice? Are they happy with the results? Did I do the right treatments on them for what they were looking for in terms of a result? Did I check up on them after the treatment? So true. You've got to look at all of these different elements. And just going back to what you were saying about upselling as well, as soon as that client is in your treatment room, you should have the confidence and be wanting to advise them on not only, okay, yeah, let's do your cheek filler like you've asked, but actually say, do you know what? We could do with a little bit of filler in the chin today. What about a skin booster? It's a really great opportunity to use your expertise and your knowledge to upsell treatments to your clients because they trust you.
Yeah, and I think that the regarding treatment plan and the importance of in-clinic and home care. Like you don't go to a dentist to get your teeth clean once every 6 months and forget to brush your teeth the next 6 months. Or you brush your teeth the next 6 months and you don't go and get your teeth clean. They go hand in hand. The in-clinic management it comes from patient education. You can't just do skincare for everything. It's just impossible. And you can't just do skin clinic and without the follow-up skincare. So you need to give them a treatment plan. And it is not that difficult treatment plan. If any one of you have got difficulty, and you follow up with a treatment plan because all they're interested in fact, come back to the same product because all interested in are three different things in terms of skin. They all want, I'm not talking about looking younger because that will, then you need about sagging and all that. They're either interested in pigments, pores, or they're interested in pimples. That's a three piece. Okay? Pigment, pores, and pimples. If you read that, that's about 80% of your skin clients.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the three
it's so interesting. And for anybody who just needs a bit more help with all of this, the module will soon be available. When do you think it will be ready to go?
It'll be a while yet because it's such an extended module. So, but hang on, you have the link, and if the link, I post one paragraph, one short talk on it every 1 or 2 days. It should be every day.
Fantastic.
So it's really available. They just link it and just go to relevant because I've just started the journey. So it's going to take me 1 or 2 months to go through the whole lot. And as people ask questions, then I'm jot it down. Then I know where to fit it in. So it covers things like what machine you buy, and I say, hang on, wait, you go back first. You got to say what are you capable of first. So it goes through the whole journey.
Fantastic. Just finally, Ben, I know we've covered quite a lot of different things within this podcast, but what would you say makes a successful practitioner in short? I know we've covered a few different points which would help with that, but what advice would you give for anybody who
I'm going to break this up. I'm going to break this up into 2 different parts. When you say a skillful practitioner, I'd rather use that rather than successful. I'll define success in a minute. A skillful technician is one who technically is skillful, but they also have an artistic eye. For example, if someone wants to come in and say, I want a Russian lip, right? First of all, the client may have no idea what a Russian lip is. So you need to ask yourself exactly what a Russian lip is. It's not just we'll show you exactly what it means by Russian lip. As I say, you can modify that. What a Russian lip is. Then there comes artistry. Will it suit that client? So it may not suit that client at all. So, and first of all, the client may have no idea what a Russian lip is. I just want a Russian lip. So you got no idea what a Russian lip is. And you don't even know whether it suits the face, right? You know how to do a Russian lip. There's no doubt. You learn it. And the third important aspect of it is communication. So now you've got a client that wants something, she has no idea what it is, or she wants a Russian lip that you think is going to look awful, but she insists that she wants it.
Hmm.
So the communication skill is so important. So there is a technical skill, there's an artistry or artistic skill, and then there's a communication skill. You need to be able to communicate it. And if the patient wants 2.5 mil to lip filler, you know, every time you go there more than 1 mil, you're running a risk of vascular necrosis. That depends on your skill, whether you think you can put 2 mil in, whether you yourself know what your limit is. So it comes back to technical, and it comes back to your artistry, whether it suits a patient, you know, rather than having a great trout pout so out there, and whether you are able to communicate with the client, what the client wants and what you think you can deliver. So these are 3 aspects. And your definition of success, that is a difficult one. I'm have to go philosophical on this one, because a lot of people define success as a measured in monetary terms. Look, I'm a lot older than most of you, and you need to define what your success is in terms of your career. If you're going to be measured by finance, then you have big trouble, because there are billions and billions and billionaires that you can't compete with. So are you less successful? Ultimately, it's a philosophical question that you have to answer yourself.
Yeah, amazing. That's such fantastic advice, Ben. So thank you so much. So just going back to the courses, guys, if anybody would like to purchase Ben's amazing online courses, you can buy them straight from the Faces app, and they're constantly getting updated. But Dr. Ben Chan, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been fantastic speaking with you, and I cannot wait to hear the feedback from all of our practitioners who purchase the courses and subscribe. So thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to hear the feedback also from today's Zoom as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be posting it everywhere. And just as I said as well, guys, if anybody's got any questions for Dr. Ben Chan or the Institute, then you can message us directly, or we'll leave the links below so you can contact them. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting so bogged down with it, I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I was becoming so overworked so quickly, and especially because I was a new business, I didn't want to turn